Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Go like this if you can hear me. Okay, I can't see you, so I don't know if you're going like this or not. Okay. Good evening. I'm sorry for delay, but we was just some people was running behind. Hey, JC Green, I see you guys. Hello. So we're gonna tonight. There's gonna be 2 nights of overview. Okay. So I first want to apologize because I didn't get notification about the exam until the last minute. When I knew about it, you guys knew about it, okay? Some of you were already preparing for the exam. I believe we started back in 2019, right, Rose?
Yes.
Yeah, we started back in
2019
in preparation for last year, but unfortunately there was COVID and they had to cancel exams for obvious reasons. So then they hit me with it at even the department didn't know that the exam was going to be on May 19th. I had to tell them. So what we're going to do tonight, most of you should have the materials that you either got from the Queen's Prep or from the prep coming to 33 Beaver from back in 2019. We also posted the material on the on the UPOA.com website. Now we couldn't post. Now most of you who was with us, and I believe with the Queens, we gave you the EPAPs. We cannot post the department's EPAPs on the website because our system is not. Gambino, you upside down. Turn your head around. All right. So anyway, we can't post the department EPAPs on the website until we secure our system, which we're working on. We're still a work in progress. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 10, not yet T, we're going to give you the index where to, because the commissioner did an excellent job in breaking down the EPAPs. This way you know how to reference them accordingly. If you still need the EPAPs, you can either go to the department's website or you can contact me or Ms. Thompson or Ms. Salinger, and we can email you the EPAPs to you directly because we also have an EPAP cheat sheet, but we couldn't put that on the website. So the EPAP that we're going to show you in a few minutes is 10-1-19, which is the total index. But before we get into all of that, first of all, I'm going to wish everybody good luck on this exam. I know you all going to knock it out, okay? The list can last as long as 1 year to 4 years, and we can get extended up to 4 years. So that's a good thing. So if you don't get called off the list the first time, we'll ask for an extension, which I did for the last exam, and everybody on that last exam has been promoted to a certain degree. But when you take this test, ladies and gentlemen, you have to think what I told you, like a supervisor. You got to think policies and procedures, not what you do, but think like a supervisor. We're going to throw a couple of questions at you and ask you some questions like we did in the class to see, did you remember thinking like a supervisor, okay? Another thing, because you take the test does not necessarily mean that you're going to get appointed to the job. There's a lot of administrations. We only had one administration that did the 1 in 3 rule. But like I said, this administration ended up promoting everybody, except for some who left for whatever reasons. But on the average, with the city, they do a 1 in 3 rule. But like I said, you can also ask to be restored to the list. And there's an EPAP, once I make sure I got the right EPAP, the Civil Service Restoration Policy, which I will share with you guys probably the next by next week or in the next newsletter, or I have Ms. Johnson posted on the website, and it could be referenced also in the department's EPAP section. The test usually lasts about 3 hours, 120. I don't know. I believe, Kelly, if you could tell me, I think the last test was like 120 questions, maybe 3 hours, but it was definitely about 3 hours. But don't let the time freak you out. Don't worry about the time, just flow. I suggest that you go with what you know, and whatever you don't know, you go back to, but don't stay stuck on one question. The good news is that it's an open book, reference book. Not necessarily, Ramona. It could be kind of intimidating because if you don't know where to look, it can be intimidating. But the book is there. So because I was the first group to take the test with the book, and it bugged me out because I was used to studying old school, like you remember from the brain. But I don't want to keep you guys long. I think that's it. So we have the young ladies that will be helping you tonight will be Kelly Harton from Family Court SPO supervisor who works in Crossroads. Miss Johnson, although she's retired, she still has a great deal of expertise, so she might jump in when it comes to the family court. And then we have our wonderful trainers, Ms. Rose Thompson and Vera Thompson. So I'm going to let Ms. Kelly Harton start, and then, well, remember, this is just a quick overview. This is not going to be that intense. So go ahead, Kelly, you got it.
Okay, hi guys, I'm
Block me
Kelly.
out. Block me out.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, we
All
can.
right,
Wait
so
a minute, wait a minute. And if you have a question, raise your hand in the chat, raise your hand on the screen and reactions, and unmute yourself, and Ms. Johnson, let you get back in. Okay. Yeah, Kelly.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with family court with intake. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, so you guys can hit me back with answers just to see what you guys remember. So the first thing I would ask is, what population does family court work with?
Raise your hand. Anybody, Torona?
Juveniles.
Right. So we work with juvenile delinquents. So I'm just going to read the definition, okay? So juvenile delinquent, also known as a JD, is a juvenile delinquent, is a child between ages 7 and 17 who has committed an offense. All juvenile delinquent cases are heard in family court. However, 13 to 17 years old arrested for serious felonies can be tried as an adult in Supreme Court. So are we all good with that?
17.
All right. Okay, so when a kid gets arrested, they're coming through intake. That's the first that they ever gonna hit is intake. So they're like 5 different ways that they can come through intake. One being the branch. The branch is the first one that they'll come through. So at the branch, they'll come in as a new arrest. We don't have any documents for that, but they'll come in as a new arrest, and the PO will interview them. They also, do you guys know the instrument that's used during intake? You can say it.
Yeah, the risk assessment instrument.
Exactly. So we use the REI, which is the risk assessment instrument. And what do you need, guys, to do the REI? I'm looking for my intake people.
Okay, so what you need is the e-justice, the UMS, and I'm sorry, e-justice, UCMS, and yeah, that's it.
It's UCMS e-justice. We also go with CE because they might have a case in CE that is not in court, and we can just see if it's open, whether it's a felony or misdemeanor.
Right.
And then we also use, if we have the parents' consent, we'll go into the school records and see what's going on. Being that it's COVID, I don't even know if they have that anymore where we could see the school records. But we will also use that if we had the parents' consent.
Kelly, a question is, what is UCMS?
Oh, UCMS. Okay, so UCMS is, we use that in family court. I don't know what the actual, maybe Tanja, somebody knows what UCMS stands for. I'm not quite sure about that.
Universal Case Management.
No.
So we'll go in and we'll go to each.
Universal Case Management.
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
So what UCMS does is gives us each docketed case that the kid has in family court. So it'll give us, what data was filed, if it went to an adjudication, if it went to disposition. So anything that's going on in family court, it gives us that information. So that helps us to do the REI, because if the kid had an adjudication, we'll get to those words, adjudication. If the kid has an unsealed prior arrest, unsealed prior felony arrest, it'll give us all that information. So we can click off on the REI that Tanja just posted up.
Kelly, can I ask you a question, Tanja? What's the difference between the way a child enters the system versus an adult? Who's the first point of contact for a child when they come to the system? Is it a judge or is it a family court supervisor?
Intake.
And that's who, the family court supervisor.
So when they come to family court, they're coming in through intake,
Right.
and they're coming through DJJ or the police officer sitting in the waiting area, and then they will be interviewed by a probation officer. So that's the first person they're going to see is a probation officer.
But not a judge.
No.
So the reason I bring that up to everybody is because a lot of people don't know that a child does not see a judge. They see an intake probation officer first. Whereas an adult, they see the judge first. Correct, Rose?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, Kelly.
Okay, so the kid comes in, whether it be, and they also have family court appearance ticket. Everybody knows the FCAT. Has anybody heard of that? You
No.
guys reviewed it before?
No.
All right, so they come in as a FCAT, where that means that the cops arrested them, but they don't come in on at that actual arrest date. So it's not that the crime that they committed normally is not that serious, or the kid doesn't have any priors. So they're giving them time to report to probation. So they can come in as the FCAT. Like I said, they can come walking in with the police. So if the police arrest them that day, they'll walk them in. And then they also have them coming from detention, which is DYFJ, Department of Youth and Family Justice, where that means most of the time they spent the night at Crossroads, and Crossroads staff is bringing them into the branch. So once they get there, somebody had a question?
No, I was gonna say, with the FCAT, they're do a period probation within 15 days.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
So once they arrive at the branch, the supervising probation officer is going to sign it because they normally have a rotation. They'll assign it to a PO. The PO is going to interview the youth, the parent if they're there. They're going to interview the arresting officer. They're going to interview the victim. The victim is not there. The victim is normally interviewed by phone. These days, nobody's there, so everybody's doing this by phone. They'll interview the victim. Am I forgetting anybody?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. So they'll conduct all those interviews, and they'll also do the RAI, which you were mentioning. Go ahead.
Oh, if the kid is in foster care, you may have to reach the caseworker if they're not in the parent's custody. Also them.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So we'll take all that information, and then we'll also do the risk assessment instrument, which Tanja had posted up. And then based on all that information that we got, we're going to make a decision. Now, the decision is either going to be to open the case for adjustment services or to refer the case to court. Now, every case is different, so it depends on the circumstances of how we decide which cases are going to court and which cases are going to adjustment services, which we're going to get into both. But I still want to finish with and take the different ways a case can come in. So that's the branch. Everybody's good with the branch? Any questions on the branch? Okay. No? Okay. So the next one is going to be, so the branch operates from, what is it, 9 to what, 2:30, 3:30? Evans, you would probably know. What time does the branch cut off?
It cuts off at 3 o'clock.
Okay, so branches are cutting off at 3. So if a kid don't make it by there, the next step is going to be for them to go to night court. Night court is at 100 Center Street. That's Ms. Ballard's unit. Ms. Ballard is there taking cases from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. So the whole point of any program after that, night court, evening intake and weekend arraignments, is so that we're saving money and we're not making these kids have to stay overnight at Crossroads or wherever, you know? So they'll come to night court, and it's the same process when they come in from 4 to 8. The PO will interview them. So it's going to be the same people that interviewing the arresting officer, the youth, the parent, and the victim. And then once again, they're going to run the legals, and which is UCMS, e-justice, and if they have the school information.
Yeah.
In some cases now that we're taking the 16 and 17-year-olds, they will have to run OCA or webcam. So I think you guys see that up there. And then we're going to have a discussion about it. So the PO and the SPO are going to talk, and they're going to determine, once again, is it going to be open for adjustment? Is it going to be referred? Now, we also have open for 7 days, meaning we might have a case where we didn't get a victim. And it's important to get that victim, even though the victim is not saying yes or no whether we take the case to court or whether they get adjustment, we still want to hear from them. So we might leave it open for 7 days. And then of course we have the open for adjustment. For night court, if the case is referred, then they have between 8:15 and 10:15 to take it to court. So that's will be a judge will make the decision at that point. Okay. Okay. Any questions on night court? All right. So then after night court, we have evening intake. Now, evening intake is at Crossroads. So the youth that we have coming to evening intake are only coming through Crossroads. So the officer will bring them into Crossroads, and it'll be like the same procedure. The PO will interview the arresting officer, the youth, the parent, the victim. We don't speak to the victims after 10 p.m. So, those that might not be as full of a intake report if we can't get certain people after a certain time of night, because even the intake runs from, we start taking cases at 8 p.m. and we stop at 2 a.m. So sometimes we might not get a parent that late at night, or victims, we don't, like I said, we don't contact them that late. So it'll be same procedure in terms of running the legal history, the UCMS, web crimes. And then the outcomes will be the same. Well, not the outcomes, the intake actions will be the same thing. We're either going to open it for adjustment, open it for 7 days, or refer it. So the difference in even intake, we have something called pending. And pending for us means that a kid is eligible to be released, but we couldn't get a parent on the phone. So the next morning when the branch gets it, if they get a parent, then the parent will be interviewed and then they could possibly go home. And at that point, we can decide if we're going to do open for adjustment or refer it. Okay, any questions on even intake?
Kelly.
Yes.
Kelly or Vera, can you explain to everyone what adjustment means for the adult? Most people who coming from adult doesn't know what adjustment means. Can you also explain to us when a child is in intake, the case can be referred for adjustment or can be referred to corporation counsel? What do those two avenues mean? What do those mean? Anybody want to jump in, Tanja, Vera, or Kelly? Because there's a reason why they come to intake to either be referred for adjustment. What does that mean? Or they refer to corporation counsel, correct?
Yes.
So what is those? What does that look like?
Okay, so with adjustment services, they're
Yeah.
not on probation, but they're being monitored by a probation officer.
Right.
And normally that's when their charge is not as serious.
Right.
So if we have I'm gonna give you an example, you guys. If we have like a kid who had an altercation with a parent, it's their first arrest, no priors, they're doing good otherwise, no problems at home, then we can refer that for we'll leave it open for adjustment services. So a probation officer will meet with them and they'll have to sign an agreement. Now the adjustment services is gonna go for 60 days. So during that time, they're gonna give them like exercises to do, whether it be BITS. I don't know, like I said, what BITS stands for, the actual acronym, but they'll give them like an exercise that's just kind of making them focus on what they need to do so that they won't get rearrested or whatever's going on at home based on that intake interview. We can try to get them the tools that they need so that we won't see them again. So that's what we do with adjustment services. Now, after the 60 days, if the kid is not like compliant, the kid is not reporting to you, the kid is not listening, mom or dad are just saying, I can't handle this kid, there's so much going on at home, then we can ask for an extension, but it has to be written. So you actually write up an extension and then it'll go to the judge. The judge has to approve it and sign off on it. So once the judge does that, then we can do it for an additional 60 days. So that's why we say adjustment services. When we talk to the parents at night or during the day in the branch, we tell them it could be anywhere from 60 to 120 days because it is the first 60 days, but then you can add an additional 60 days with the judge's approval.
And then if they don't get referred to adjustment, what's the other option?
So then it'll be a RPI, which is refer petition immediately. So that's when you're going to send it, the referral. I don't know if we have that form. We have a referral. It was sent in the package earlier. There's a referral form that the PO fills out, and that's going to go to Corporation Counsel, which is in Corporation Counsel, which is ACC.
Which is equivalent to the district attorney in family court and adult court. Okay.
I think that
adult court doesn't know all these terminologies. So.
Right. I think the bottom line is that you need to know that when a kid comes through family court, he's going to intake first. and intake makes a decision on
Right.
whether or not to send it to adjustment, which is also known as diversion, or to send it immediately for petition.
Right.
It can go to petition at any point if he's not in compliance with the diversion or the adjustment.
Right.
Okay, that's what you need to know. That's when, so if that, it should come up. Those are the concrete things that you need to know. What decision is made by intake? What is intake doing? Intake decides whether it's going to be adjusted or going immediately for petition.
And petition is equivalent to refer to court. Okay.
Yes.
A lot of adults doesn't know those terminologies. Okay.
Right.
And then they get sentenced to, and then after they get sentenced to, I'm sorry, after they play, now let's get to, after they're placed on probation, they go through the intake, it goes through the petitions. Let's say they didn't make it through adjustment. Now they go through the actual proceedings, right? Then what? They have to get an INR done, right?
Right. So we get to go back really quick with adjustment services.
Yeah.
There's also a tool used, the wireless. I just want to make sure everybody knows that they also use the wireless.
Right.
So the wireless, I think we have that too. Wireless/CMI. So that's the youth level of service / case management inventory. And that's just going to show us what level the kid is at. So you'll know what services to provide to them. And it also,
There are a couple of hands, I'm sorry.
okay.
There are a couple of hands raised.
Oh, okay.
Just a quick question. You say 60 days, but I thought it got switched to 90 days. Adjustment period was for 90 days.
It is.
Was
Okay,
switched in
maybe that's,
December of 2019, it was.
Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure. Yes, it got switched to 90 days.
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
But that happened during the, after, whatever. But yes, it was switched to. You're right, Mr. Green.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do I put my hand?
And there's another hand.
Sang.
Aisha,
Hello.
we hear you.
Hi. I wanted to the adjustment, is that similar to interim?
Don't confuse it with adult terminology, but yes, it is. Okay, but for family court, it's just called adjustment or diversion. They do not use interim. Okay? Yes, adjustment is a diversion. You're absolutely right. But they're interchangeable. Somebody say is using diversion, he's an adjustment. It's the same. Thank you.
Ms. Lopez, Leza,
Yes, I just wanted to make sure to be clear. During the adjustment period, if we were after the 60 days, if we wanted to ask for an extension, it's an extra 30 days in order to be 90 days. Because someone mentioned an extra 60 days, a total of 120 days, but the paperwork that we received says it's a total of 90 days. So I just want to be clear on that. After the original 60 days, how many days do we ask the judge to extend the adjustment for?
In 2019, I think they're extended it by 30 days. We're gonna have to get back to you with that answer. Don't want to give you the wrong information.
All right, because someone told me there was 90 days total. So you can't really ask. Okay, somebody's saying up to 90 days now. So I guess we can only ask for an additional month in order to make it for 90 days. I don't think that they're taking 120 days anymore.
We will have to check that out for you. Don't want to give you the
Okay,
wrong
Vera.
information.
All right, Vera, thanks.
You're welcome.
Kelly?
Any more, no more questions?
no, I believe that's all the hands.
Okay, so now the adjustment services part is done. If we refer it, which is the RPI, it'll go to court. And after fact finding, which is an adjudication. So if through the court process, if they determine a juvenile committed an act, and they're charged for it, the term is adjudication. We good on that? Okay, so once they go through the adjudication process, it's gonna go to investigations unit. In the investigations unit, they're gonna do the INR. Now, the INR also has the wireless component with it when they're determining the scoring and they're making their recommendation for court. So in the INR, the PO and the SPO are going to decide based on the wireless and the investigation report what they recommend for the youth. Any questions in? Okay. So in the meantime of that too, while that's going on, the judge may order for the kid to do an ATD or to go on ICM. And they're gonna base that on the REI that we mentioned in the intake. So which means they're paroling them, but they're gonna have ICM monitor them, you know, a little bit more closely before they get to disposition. You good with that? Okay. All right. So then we're gonna we get to the disposition. So there are a number of different dispositions that can happen.
Kelly,
Yes.
hold on, Kelly.
Okay.
John Catalano, you have a
Yes.
question?
Is there any time that an INR was never ordered in family court?
There's no waivers in,
No,
Yes,
Okay.
only on,
Judge, they
only on the ACD. They can be given an ACD without an INR.
Adjournment in contemplation of dismissal.
Adjournment and contemplation of dismissal, yes.
Now, was that for 6 months or 1 year?
6 months.
6 months.
Okay, great. So thank you.
Okay, Kelly, let me answer this. Ms. Lopez, in regards to the adjustment that we were speaking of, how long is adjustment? It was changed. It became 90 days with an extension. Hello?
Yes, I hear you.
You hear me? Okay.
Gotcha.
As of December 12 of 2019, they changed the time to 90 days with extension from family court, which allows another 60 additional days with 5 months max.
Oh, okay.
You
All
got
right,
it?
thank you. Gotcha.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Vera.
You're welcome.
Good. Okay.
You can continue, Kelly.
Okay. So we were on the dispositions at this point. So this is once we've gone through fact finding and we've done the adjudication, we're going to get down to disposition. Now, we had already mentioned the ACD, which is adjournment and contemplation of dismissal. And that ACD can be with or without supervision. And as mentioned before, it can also be pre or post fact finding. Okay. And then another disposition is a CD. Now with the conditional discharge, there is no supervision. Okay. So then we have probation. Does somebody want to mention the different levels of probation? Just to see what we remember. The different levels of probation in family court.
Low, moderate, and high? I'm not
Like
sure.
level 1, level 2, level 3.
Oh, yeah, level.
Level
Yes.
1, level 2, level 3,
Level
ESP.
3, which is ESP. And so how long can a youth be on probation? If there's a if it's a misdemeanor?
6 months. 12 months.
Up to.
Right. So we have
Up to a year.
It's up
Yes.
to. You don't confuse it. Don't say 6 months. The 6 months would be a wrong answer. It's up to 12 months.
Up to 12 months.
Yes.
And do we know the duration if it's the somebody said hold up? Okay, so what would be the duration if it's a felony? Does anybody know?
Up to 24 months.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so felonies can be anywhere from 18 to 24 months, correct?
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord. No.
So,
Oh, shit. Oh,
Those are our levels.
Make sure you block yourself.
So under disposition, those are our levels of probation. Then we have ATPs. Does anybody know what ATPs are?
Alternatives to placement.
Correct. And so the alternative to a placement, the assessment unit makes those referrals. So do we know the different ATPs?
Hold on for a second, Kelly.
Okay.
Hamadi, you have a question?
I did. I know you mentioned probation level 1, 2, 3. What is that?
But you want to go into each level? Thompson might know that better.
The levels is how they're being supervised. Intensity, just like it has in an adult court. You know, if you're high risk, low risk.
Oh, okay.
Right. So your level 1 is the lowest
yes
level, and it has the least number of contacts that you have to make. And then your level 2 is a step up, and level 3 is ESP. So it gets more contacts the higher it goes.
And then the ATPs is like after the highest level, then there's the ATPs, which Kelly's getting ready to talk about. Because when it comes to the youth, they try to do everything they can to keep them out of the system. So after the highest level of supervision family court, she's going to talk to you about the 3 different levels of the different kind of ATPs.
Thank you.
We have the ATPs, and the ATP assessment unit is the one who makes the referrals for those. So they're conducting interviews with the family as well, with the youth and the parent, and then they determine what referrals, which ATPs they're going to make these referrals to. So the different ones are JJI, Esperanza, AIM, and ECHOS. So now once those referrals are made, if no one accepts them and the kid they believe is beyond that amount of supervision, then the youth is going to be placed. And that's going to be in a detention. That would be what is it through? I'm sorry, it's a name for it. Run by ECS.
I didn't hear what you said.
The placement. What is it?
Division for Youth and Family
Division for
Services.
right. Division right. Thank you, Tanja.
Okay. Okay, so that's basically it for
and you just need to know that placement does not necessarily mean that he has to be out of the home.
Right.
Placement can be in the home or with a family member.
Keep that in mind. So, Kelly, you finished?
Yes. Unless they have any questions.
Any questions before we go into adult?
No, don't go into adult. Did y'all talk about raise the age?
Right, you gotta talk about raise the age. But after you do raise the age, Vera, I want to share something with them. Go ahead, G.
Okay. And as effective of October 1st of 2018, we know that all 16-year-olds were now considered juveniles. 18, 17-year-olds too. Now there was a part that's been made up where the state has had what they call a youth part. And a kid coming into the system through the youth part based on the crimes that they've committed, all misdemeanors for 16 to 17-year-olds are now heard in family court. If the case is over in family court, it goes through the same process of the intake. It can go to diversion or adjustment, or it can go before a judge, but he's sentenced as a youth, which basically means that when everything is over and done with, the case is done. But all of his fingerprinting that may have taken place or mugshots should all be destroyed once the case is moved over to family court. Now, when it's in the youth part and it's a serious offense, if it's a serious offense and they're going to keep it in the criminal court on the adult side, it's still in the youth part, but they're sentenced as AOs, which is adolescent offenders. Okay, that's adolescent offenders. And their confinement, if they're going to be incarcerated, will still be in a juvenile facility. They will not be amongst adults because they're still considered kids. Okay, and we don't want to put them at jeopardy. Okay, now this all took place in 2018, the 16-year-olds moved over, and in 2019, the 17-year-olds moved over. If a 17-year-old comes into the court through the youth part, a judge decides based on the crime and what he has before him on whether or not the case should go over to family court. If it goes over to family court, again, fingerprints, mugshots, and all those things are destroyed. There shouldn't be anything in their sealed cases, just like they do the juvenile delinquents. Is any cases regarding them raise the age? No hands up? Okay, what are the ages? Raise the age took place, they were 16 and 17-year-olds. Remember, they moved the 16 and 17-year-olds off of Rikers Island. They used to be housed there.
There's a 62. There's another one. Oh,
60.
no, I'm sorry. No,
Okay. All right, any questions?
There was a question in the chat that says, what are the ages for AO?
16, 17. Did you hear me? Did they hear me? Okay, you're welcome.
Okay. Tandra, can you share the EPAP? No, I'm two things before we go to adult. The EPAP index. I think there's another one. It should be a 60. We're gonna put it on the website to make sure, but I'm gonna make sure it's right before we do it. Hold on a minute. What we getting ready to share with you is the index that the commissioner broke down the EPAPs in by category. Just write this down, 10-1-19. I want you to see how it looks in the EPAP. And it gives you breakdown the sections 10, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, and there's a 60, but that didn't come out on our sheet. So I gotta add that in there. You got it, T?
I can't find
Katrina,
it.
I got a question.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Gambino had a question all the way in the beginning, and it was a good question. You mentioned it.
Upside down. I couldn't tell.
You mentioned in the beginning that this is going to be an open book exam. Are the materials that are being provided are hard copies, or they're going to put them on the computer? Like, how's that work? Or do we have to bring the materials ourselves?
No,
you do not bring the
they're
material yourself.
They're gonna give you the book, huh? They're gonna.
But
I know what you mean. Like when we was in school, huh? There's a book.
Okay.
There's a reference book that they're gonna actually have. You mean like you used to think when we was in school we had to actually have the materials from the classroom? No, they're gonna give you a book, and they're gonna But the thing is, I don't know how the book is structured, right? I have no idea. But you have if you don't have that one, when you get a chance, go to 10-1-19 to 19, and you'll see the index that our Commissioner Bermudez put together for us. If we don't have it today, we'll have it for the next class for you. Also, there was a list. I was provided with a list of things you should know. You have that one, Tandra? For all the different topics that you need to cover. JD, delinquent. You have it?
Yes.
All right, she's going to show you, and then we're going to post it on the website. Here's a list. What's that?
Nope, that ain't it. Sorry.
We're going to give you a list of all the things that you should know, like terminologies. Here we go. This is all the things you need to know that I was told you need to know. JD, with the terminology of JD, adolescent offender, juvenile offender. All this, I'm not going to go over it because we're not here to go over every aspect of the test, but here's all the things that you should know. I don't know if they have the laws up here. Can't you scroll it up? Do they have the laws up there? The different laws?
No.
All right, we're gonna have to add up there the different laws, which Vera and Ms. Salinger is gonna go over. But this is pretty much what you should know, plus the Kendra law, those laws that we went over with you before. You need to know those laws too. If this list is not up to date, go up to date it. But like I said, if you should ever get bumped off the list, here's the EPAP 60-199. If you ever want to get restored back to the list, hopefully nobody will get skipped over. The EPAP, this is for your future reference, and I'll have it available to you. 61-99 is the EPAP you will use if you ever got bumped off the list, because they can pass you over 3 times. But I don't want to get into that now. So Vera, Rose, you guys got it. We're gonna do adult now. Any questions about family court? You can feel free to contact us and Vera, who's really an expert, and Kelly on the questions about family court. Go ahead. That's a nice hat, Helena Campbell, with the red hat on. Go ahead.
Hey, Powell, Miss Powell, how are you? Can you go?
Thank you.
So I can take another picture. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Said that will be on the Miss Johnson will post it on the UPOA.com website.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And what I'll do is I see that we have to add stuff. I'm gonna go over that list with Miss Thompson and Miss Salinger to make sure that we got everything covered on that list. Because I didn't see the laws up there.
All right, you got it. Thank you.
I'm gonna make sure that we right. Okay. All right.
You got it.
Salinger V, y'all got it from here.
Okay, as far as adult operation, we were planning on doing all adult on the next meeting. We weren't prepared to do today, but we will do, I guess, what we can in that an adult operation, you know how a case comes into the system. There's only 3 ways a case is going to come into the system. And that will be a criminal complaint, a police officer's observation, or a warrant. Those are 3 ways that one of our may come through the system before they get to probation. And when they get to probation, we do have several levels of it. Like I said, we weren't really prepared. We were doing a PowerPoint for you guys for next week. We were working on it.
Can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. I think what Ms. Salinger and I will do tonight, because we had prepared a whole PowerPoint to show you guys on how probation works for an adult operation, because we wanted you to see the drives. It's 6 drives, Ms. Salinger, isn't that right? The 6 drivers for probation. We're going to discuss the IEP, the LSIR.
Okay.
Okay, so we wanted to show you all of that.
Right.
Because where the department is going with all of that.
Okay.
Okay, so we wanted to show you this. So we don't want to jump into it now, and we want to show it to you.
Yes.
And that's cool. So what I'm gonna do is, since that's gonna be it for the night, I just wanna, that was family court overview, but we're gonna also post, you might wanna post, we're gonna post Article 65 from the penal law. I don't know, guys, you know about the penal law, which is telling you about the sentencing, probation, and the different type of sentences. Let me ask you a question. Does anybody know about split sentence? What is a split sentence? I'm just gonna throw some questions.
Yes. Yep.
You have jail time and probation.
Huh?
You have jail time and probation.
On a felony conviction, 5 years probation, 6 months jail. Or
Right.
less, you can do less than 6 months.
Can family court get a split sentence?
No.
Exactly.
I thought felonies were all, the split sentence were offered on felony cases.
Right, in adult cases,
And
right.
court.
Excuse me, split sentences are also offered on misdemeanor cases.
Right.
90 days.
What's the 3 types of reports that we do in adult?
PSIs.
Go ahead. Speak loud. What's the 3 types of reports we do in investigations?
EPI.
Right.
You're gonna do a post? You're gonna do a
Yes, you do a post. What else you do?
Enhancement.
Okay.
5.
And what's the one when the person's doing jail time and it's a short version? Come on, investigation.
Do we still do that?
Modified?
Mod, yes.
Yes, very good. And we just throwing questions out here to ask you all some questions. Rose, you got a
Don't we
question?
do waivers as well?
Yes.
Yes, we do. But we do waivers as well. Anybody
A
got
waiver, let's
Yes.
clear this up now. A waiver is not a PSI.
No.
A
But we-
waiver means that the person has agreed to be sentenced and they don't want to do a report. A waiver is something that is done by the adult intake officer, and they just taking all of the information that would have been on a PSI. Okay, but a waiver is not a PSI. And since we're talking about a waiver can never be given to a youthful offender in criminal court. Okay, it's never given to someone who's going to be, you get useful offender status, can never have a waiver. It is against the law. You must have a PSI.
And they also don't do waivers in family court.
Any questions? Does everybody know where to go get the information from?
What was the third?
No.
Anybody got access to the UPOA.com?
Yes.
Does everybody have access to department's EPAPs?
Yes.
Everybody have the information on the code of conduct? Do a checkoff list. Do you have the code of conduct information we gave you? You have the code of conduct information.
Yes.
You have the time and leave information.
Yes.
Anything else they need to have, Vera?
As far as
No, I just want to say that if you study the EPAP and know on the quick index list, I believe we posted it, right? Did we post it?
Posted. They don't have to. If you don't have the quick index list, we'll email it to you. Just
yes, give me if you get in touch with me, I will email it to you also.
Right.
If you study that since it's an open book, that would help you in using the reference guide that they're going to give you. Okay. Somebody said something. I don't have the quick index list. Cindy, we will get it to you.
And can someone give a list of those different PSIs? Because someone was asking about the third. So can you run the list of what those PSIs are? The different types?
Different types of PSIs. It's just so happened I'm going to be doing this training next week. Isn't that something? Got my book in front of me. That's why I was able to answer that question that Lopez asked me. I just pulled out my trusty book from the state.
Can't go wrong with that. Okay.
No, something said bring it home. Okay. What was that question again? I'm sorry.
List the different PSIs.
Okay, is it in this book? Let's see. There is the enhanced PSI. There is a modified PSI. There is the
pre-pleading.
The pre-pleading PSI, which means that the person did not take a plea. So when you interview them, you don't ask them anything about the crime. Okay, so you know there's a part in the PSI when you ask, are you guilty or whatever. You don't talk about the crime. You talk about everything else. And when they ask you about a PSI, you must the question they ask about a PSI is supposed to be relevant and reliable. Those are keywords that's always stressed by the state, the court. It must be relevant and reliable. And you have to verify as much information as you can.
Gabe, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I have. I'm kind of torn. The PSI, I know it as the pre-sentence investigation. I haven't been in adult supervision in a long time, but in looking at different PSIs, I've seen some that say post-sentence investigation.
Yeah, it's done after their sentence.
Huh?
But it used to be called a here to attach. Now it's called a post.
Okay. And it's after.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay.
Vera, I'm sorry, I missed the third one. I have modified, pre-pleading, and I don't have the third.
Post. Yes.
And enhanced.
And enhanced.
And enhanced.
Wait, post and enhanced is one report?
Two different reports.
All right.
A post is done after he's sentenced. And enhanced means that, let's say he commits a crime this year, and then within the year, he gets arrested again, and the judge orders a PSI. You can use that report that's not a year old, and you're enhancing it. In other words, you're updating what's already in it. Because maybe in that year he moved, or he changed jobs, or school. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's why it's called enhanced, or here to attach. You're updating what he has, because of the PSI, the previous PSI is less than a year old.
Okay, so you have the modified, the enhanced, the pre-pleading, and post-PSI.
That's right.
Got it.
And all this is on the UPOA website. And what I did was in the chat, I put me and Ms. Thompson's phone numbers in the chat, and you can contact us. You can call us, and I'll give you my email too. If you want me to email you the EPAPs, the enhanced, V, you got this stuff too, right? The
Yes, I
enhanced, EPAPs and any other information that we probably might have missed or you don't have. Because some of you, ladies and gentlemen, just for the first time is getting on to, just registered for the exam for the first time. Because DCAS, we convinced DCAS to open up the enrollment period. So some people I'm sorry, Vera. Some people is doing it just for the first time. So I just want to tell you that. I'll stop.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So that means there's quite a few of you going to be taking the exam that weren't registered before COVID.
They wasn't in the preps at all. But I commend them. I commend them for stepping up to the plate and even taking the exam. So I commend.
And I wish you the very best on it.
Yeah, I wish you all the best. We're not going to keep you guys long because unless you just want to ask some questions, you want to talk about your anxieties, you want to get some stuff off your chest, just to, talk about it, how you feel about it, raise your head, you want to share some thoughts that maybe your other colleagues might be feeling the same way.
I just have a question. They have it on a Wednesday. Are we required to take annual leave?
No.
No, and I was you, I would contact Miss Mapp and she'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Because they know they're gonna know that you got to take the test, so you should be excused for the day. But that's for that's for HR to contact and let them.
For the day.
Question, huh?
For the whole day. Okay.
Well, I'm
Contact.
Yes,
Miss Watts. Huh?
Last year, I was told that I had to go in for the exam, and then thereafter, I had to report to whatever my nearest office was. But with COVID now, they need to work remote.
Right. It was morning. If you had to test in the morning, you was expected to come to work in the afternoon. If you had to test in the afternoon, you expect. So like I said, I would say contact HR, and because like somebody just mentioned remote learning. The virtual. They might tell you to come in and do your work virtually in the morning. In the morning. I don't know. So that's the question you have to pose to HR. Because I don't want nobody said Katrina said whatever. Because I'm not saying that. I said contact HR to get clarity. Okay. In all fairness. Any other questions? Make sure. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say, someone asked, will this be posted on the website? And yes, it's being recorded, and it will, for those who missed the beginning or came late, you can watch it at a later time.
And so you're going to be getting mostly family court stuff right now. And like all the materials that Ms. Harton went over is all on the website. And all the stuff that we're going to go over next week is going to be on the website. And if I could, as I get more information, I will upload as much information as we can. But you should. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, V, go.
Those who needed the series, you asked the question about the EPAP series. Right? You were looking for that?
Right.
You were looking for that. And if the email that we have says, it starts with series 10. 10 says is EPAP, describes the EPAPs.
Mm-hmm.
And series 10 is EPAP, series 20 is adult operations. Series 20 is adult operations, 25 is adult and juvenile operations because some things cross over into both. Okay, and series 30 is juvenile operations, series 40 is administration, and series 50 is general counsel. You all have that?
Yes.
So to read an EPAP, the EPAP is based on the function, the division, and the breakdown. So it's 20. If it was 20, it would be 20. We would know that it's an adult operation. When did it in 25, 30, 40, and 50. It's based on function, areas, division, and the breakdown is below it. And if you send me your little email address, I'll make sure you get it.
And let me just tell you this. I got the old school book. In 60, there's series 60, which is executive policy and procedure.
What about 100?
There is no 100.
There's a 100. Are you trying to test us? Because if we fail,
No, I saw 100 on the EPAP.
Okay, if there's 100, then I don't have it. You have 100? Oh, yeah, 105.
Yeah, I've got the old EPAPs and there's 100 series also.
100 series.
But they revised it. They're not using those.
Okay.
They not.
So we need
And
to
they
just
tell you
go,
each time they've updated an EPAP, they tell you it supersedes this one, it supersedes that one.
Yes.
Well, that's what I was doing. I was actually looking at the older EPAPs compared to the new EPAPs.
Yeah.
And those series were never superseded before. So there are some that are still on the books that pertain to, the functionability of the department that's still listed there.
You know what, Mr. Catalano, I would study it all and review it anyway. How about that? I would do it anyway, because you're right, there is executive order number 105 right here in my hand.
There you go.
105. So if I was you, I would review them anyway. I can't post them because, like I said, the system is not secure, but maybe I can email this to you because we could do that. But if you go to the department's internet, you'll find all this stuff.
Right.
All this EPAPs is right on the internet. But if you need us to send you over the cheat sheet or whatever, we'll do that too. But there's 105. Yep.
so what I'm hearing is we have to study every single EPAP?
I would say get familiar with them. I'm not saying
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You know what? Right. Let me do this.
There is I'm sorry, I'm Trina. But there is what we call an EPAP quick sheet.
We have that.
You don't need to study every EPAP.
Right.
What you need to study is in it when you get the quick sheet. Look where it says series 10. It breaks it down where EPAP is and what that EPAP is going to cover.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So if the question is on the exam asking you and it's about adult operations, you know what series to go to and which one to go to.
20. Yes. Okay. Got it.
You
Got
know
it.
what I'm saying?
Very good.
Got it. Okay.
There you go.
Got
Yeah, Tamika, you go, girl.
Okay. I have
know you
another
can do
question.
it.
I have another question.
Okay.
What if you did not get the DCAS appointment letter?
Oh, you should have called that in.
If you didn't get the DCAS, I'm gonna tell you this. If you didn't get the DCAS appointment letters because either they don't have the right, and I put it on Facebook as a matter of fact, you have to provide DCAS with if you change your phone number or your email.
Wait, buttons.
That's your dog. That's the dog. Okay. Tell Buttons we say hi. Whoever asked that question, did you give DCAS your updated information? If you didn't, contact Miss Mapp. And I believe Miss Mapp will have the information what you need to do if they didn't give you because you should have got the letter by May 5th. The letter's been out by May 5th. You should have gotten it. Contact HR and she'll tell you what to do. Okay? But we find that some people didn't update the information or they don't have it. Okay?
Okay.
You got an email? Okay, so if you got an email, you got something. Did it tell you what day your test exam is and the time? Oh, then you good. So some people, if you didn't get a letter, thank you for that, Ripper. If you didn't get a letter, look for an email. Thank you. Or they emailing them? They're emailing they're emailing the admission notices, not mailing them.
What they're doing is they're sending an email that's directing you to sign on to the Oasis website, and then you have to print it from that website.
Okay, you heard that? Because when I did it, they gave me some paper in the mail. I don't even know.
You can print it or show it on your phone if you don't want to have it, if you don't have a printer. It says you can print it or just show. You can print it or just show it on your phone when you get to the admission site. You don't have to physically print it. You not have access to a printer.
Okay, so you heard that? You can show it like you go to a movie. They scan. Is it a scan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so then any other comments and helping your other brothers and sisters on this? Because I don't know how they contacting you. I know that there was emails. Yes. I don't know about the mail. So if your email's not up to date, that's why you're not getting it.
You should also check the spam mail because mine was in the spam.
Check your spam mail. Spam mail. I never know how to get to that. Check the spam mail too. And then somebody put a link. Look, y'all are wonderful. Somebody put a link up here. HTT. Look at that, y'all. Look at the chat. HTTPS at 8. Kendra, could we get that on the website somehow?
I'm sending. Did you get it?
Can we copy that link and put it on the website?
Yes, Vera, thank you.
Okay.
Did you get any more Happy Mother's Day to you too, Gail. Any more questions or advice for your brothers and sisters that read it?
I have another question. It says,
oh yeah.
During the test, are we allowed to record our answers?
What?
What
During
they do
the
is
test,
they give you,
are we allowed to record our
They give you an extra piece of paper for you to write your answers down.
Right.
Because if you want to protest, you have to know which one you're going to be protesting.
And let me tell you this. I suggest that everybody that's taking this test, if you have a question, if you are not happy with your results, to please protest the test. Because there's been times I've only seen 1 or 2 people that will take action and protest it, right, B? Or Tanja?
Yes.
And nobody else does it. So if you feel that your answers, like she said, they're going to give you a piece of paper to write down your answers, and when you get the answer sheet, you make sure you compare those answers to your answers, and you feel there's going to be, and it's going to be a whole process. They got somebody from the union, somebody from the department that's going to be on this panel. Make sure that you actually challenge those questions, okay? Because you might get lucky. Anything else? Because we're going to close it up.
Miss Yahara, just send me your email address and I'll get it out to you.
Miss Yahara, I posted me and Vera's emails on the chat. Do you have it?
Yes, I'm gonna email her now.
All right, email her now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll
I
send
just
you
emailed Vera's and it came back to me, so I don't know if that's correct. I just emailed vera@upoa.com.
If not, Gabe, send it to me, babe, and I'll send it to you.
I'll send it to you too. Thank you.
Dalvin@upoa.com.
Listen. If that comes back to anybody else, you could always email me at PR.
Let me guide.
IMA.
Hold on, brother. I'm gonna type it. PR.
IMA.
IMA. Is it capital or lowercase?
It doesn't matter. V at hotmail.com.
Prima V at
hotmail.com.
Hotmail. Gabe, do both.
Okay, if you send me your email address, I'll get it right out to you. But after 8 o'clock, I'm not sending nobody nothing, okay?
That's why we're gonna get off the phone, because Vera's she's gonna not be working anymore. I don't know how. I work 24 hours a day, but y'all can send it to me anytime you feel like it, because I don't know if the phone, if it goes ding, I'm gonna wake up and send it to you, okay? Any other questions or concerns before we bounce? And we'll get more in depth with adult next week. Like I said, this is just an overview, family. It's not what we was doing back in 2019. Okay?
And if you have any additional questions, feel free to send us something, okay?
And you can send them to me anytime of the night. I don't care.
Okay.
Okay? So that's it for tonight. I want you guys to study. And Vera, what's the tips on taking the test? Ms. Salinger, what's the good tips for taking the test?
Take your time, use all of the clock. Review your answers, and if you think about it, don't try. If you're one of those people who second guesses yourself, more than likely your first answer is the right answer. The first thing you're going to do is eliminate the ones you know are not the right answer.
Right.
Eliminate those first before you choose your answer.
So that they say right. So Ms. Salinger, do you have any input?
I would just ensure that when you get the answer key, make sure it's going down or across. I heard last year that was a problem for people because some people just automatically go down. Make sure either number 1, 2, 3 going down or 1, 2, 3 across. So make sure you do that.
I thought it was done on the computer.
Oh, it's done. Oh, it's not in. Okay, it's on the computer. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
If it's done on the computer, just make sure you. And you know what? Somebody said to me today, I started panicking when people was leaving the test before me. I don't care who leaves the test before you.
Yeah.
You know how and people did that when they, right? Don't rush, and don't rush because somebody left the test and they did the test in 15 minutes. I'm concerned about that person that left in 15 minutes. I'd rather see a person take 3 hours than 15 minutes to take a test. So don't base your testing techniques or skills on somebody else because it'll mess you up, okay? Any other input or questions you want to ask? Who gave the
read the instructions? I would suggest you read the instructions.
And if you guys took the prep with Queens, I know they did some good work too. If you want to share the information with your colleagues from that teaching too. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm gonna put some stuff from the penal law and the CPL up on the website for you guys as well. And I think that's it. And we'll have stuff on the Article 35 and the firearms and all that stuff for the next round, okay? All right. You should have that stuff. If you don't have it, let us know and we'll get it to you. Or you can always use the department's intranet as a good form of resource, okay?
Yes.
And we're gonna let the department's internet is the best form of resource. We're gonna put this list up here. We're gonna probably add to it and then use that as a point of resource. That's the best thing. And remember, if you want to redo those questions that we gave you, remember let me tell you something else. We had gave you some practice tests, remember? So somebody called me and asked me for the most recent practice test. They haven't given out practice tests in years. You know why? I'm gonna tell you a secret. They use the same questions over and over again. They switch it up and they use it over and over again. So if you took the test 10 times, you should be pretty familiar with the test that's coming up now. Because some of the questions, I'm just playing. Some of the questions are probably going to repeat themselves, but don't depend on that. Anyway, y'all, listen, it was nice visiting you all in your homes today. I see some beautiful artwork back there. Timmy, I see you. I want you to have a good evening, and I'm gonna see you at 6 o'clock next Friday, and the whole evening will be only adult services only. I hope this was some kind of help to you, some kind of help, right?